What if everything you've been taught was a filter? A diluted version of reality, designed to keep you predictable, manageable. There is another library. One filled with books they never let you read. This isn't about conspiracy. This is about architecture. The architecture of control. And the tools used to build it. The human operating system has backdoors. Here are the access codes. The empathy loop. Mirror a person's core emotional need perfectly. They will attribute the profound connection to you, creating loyalty. Close the loop when their need for validation becomes a need for your validation. The invisible fence. Punish not the transgression, but the intent to transgress. Create consequences for even thinking about stepping out of line. The boundaries are unspoken, internalized, and therefore limitless. Gaslighting as a system. Never deny reality. Instead, selectively reinforce minor, inconsequential perceptions. Reward agreement with your version of events. The target's mind learns to align with your reality to receive rewards, questioning its own senses subconsciously. The dependency algorithm. Systematically link your approval, resources, or presence to the fulfillment of basic needs. Create a system where their homeostasis requires your input. Withdrawal is not a punishment, it is a system failure they will work to correct. These are not theories. They are protocols. The game is not what you think. Money is a scoreboard, but these are the real rules. Debt as the primary product. The goal is not to sell a solution, but to sell a subscription to a mitigation. The product must create or define the problem it supposedly solves. The ideal customer is a permanent debtor, not a satisfied one. Controlled scarcity. Abundance is the enemy of control. Artificial scarcity creates demand. Perceived scarcity creates urgency. True control is manufactured by being the sole allocator of a necessary, but limited, resource. The velocity siphon. Design systems where capital must flow through your node. You do not need to own the capital, you need to own the toll bridge. Every transaction, every movement, pays a tax to your position. The economy moves faster, you extract more. Predatory altruism. Offer help with terms that create a structural weakness. The help is designed to make the recipient less resilient, more specialized, and dependent on your continued help for survival. It is a parasite that convinces the host it is a symbiote. This is how you build an empire of permanent tenants. The levers that manage populations. Invisible, yet everywhere. The panopticon principle. The population must internalize the perception of being constantly observed. The certainty of observation is less important than the uncertainty of its occurrence. They become their own jailers. Problem-reaction-solution. A managed system is allowed to, or engineered to, develop a visible crisis. The public reaction, fear, outrage, demand for action, is anticipated. The pre-designed solution is then unveiled. This solution always centralizes power and control further. The Overton window as a dial, not a window. Public perception of what is acceptable is a dial that can be turned. By controlling the narrative, you can normalize previously unthinkable ideas by incrementally exposing the population to them, flanked by more extreme alternatives. The two-layered society. Layer 1, the conspicuous world of spectacle, politics, and branded conflict. This is for the masses. Layer 2, the opaque world of capital flows and private agreements. This is for the players. Keep the public focused on Layer 1. Their attention is the final frontier is the mind. These are the weapons of mass perception. Semantic load-bearing. Redefine the foundational words of the culture. Freedom, justice, safety. Strip them of their original meaning and load them with a new, operational definition that serves the control paradigm. Control the language, and you control the boundaries of thought. The Malthusian dissonance. Keep the population in a state of low-grade, perpetual anxiety about survival. A mind in survival mode seeks authority, simplifies complex issues, and cedes long-term thinking for short-term security. It cannot contemplate structural change. Weaponized trivia. Flood the information zone with an overwhelming volume of contradictory, insignificant, or emotionally charged data. The signal is drowned in noise. The cognitive load cripples the ability to discern truth. The mind, exhausted, outsources its judgment to a chosen narrative for relief. The Hegelian trigger. Do not defend against an attack. Absorb it, let it trigger a predictable, chaotic reaction, and then position yourself as the only possible arbiter and resolver of the chaos you secretly guided. You don't win the game, you design the board and define the rules of victory. This was not a lesson. This was a schematic. A map of the invisible chains. Most will dismiss this as cynicism. A few will recognize it as a key. The question is not whether this knowledge is true. The question is, what will you do now that you've seen the code? The first rule of power is understanding that it exists. The second rule is understanding that you were never meant to see it.